All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Mets Weekly as we are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X for the latest breaking news this offseason. But before we get into all of that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for new episodes of our regular podcast, which is regularly recorded every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. For those of you watching or listening on playback and you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok for more content over there. And for our audio listeners of our podcast, make sure to follow us on all your favorite listening platforms. Do not miss the audio version of new episodes that go up at 9 a.m. the following day of recording. Also, make sure to give us a 5-star review. It would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into the latest news. And for those of you who are freaking out right now, we're going to get into all of it. Don't worry, but the Mets have signed Devin Williams to a 3-year, $45 million deal to add on to this bullpen. And we knew that this name was going to be attached to the Mets all offseason, obviously, with him being familiar with David Stearns for all his time that he was there in Milwaukee. However, obviously, it raises some questions, of course, especially with a certain reliever that a lot of Mets fans want to retain, and we will get into that. Now, Andrew, you're also here. We did a video about 6 free agents that we wanted the Mets to avoid. Devin Williams was on that list, but it was more of, obviously, depending on the situation, more than we just did not want him here. Either way, the Mets make their first addition to the bullpen, and it is Devin Williams. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see how they fill the rest of it. We'll see for the rest of these offseason moves. But we have already seen some big impact moves already before the winter meetings start, which is in about, week and a half? So
a week.
We've already seen...
a week from today.
Yeah, week from today. So we've already seen Nimmo get traded for Marcus Semien, and now Devin Williams gets added to the list of offseason moves that have been made by David Stearns so far. So, I mean, what are your honest, raw thoughts of this signing as the Mets add to their bullpen, which we knew was a need this offseason? Seems to be a need every single winter, huh?
That's just normal with the position. But yeah, again, I'm sitting on the couch watching the Giants get absolutely just ganged on by the New England Patriots. I see the Twitter notifications. I also have the notifications off for the Penguins, and the Penguins are beating the hell out of the Flyers. And I see, Tommy Novak, 4-1 Pens, nice. And then I see Will Salmon, and the Mets have signed Devin Williams. I'm like, what the hell? And again, a 3-year deal, and then you look at the money, and it's less than Passan puts out. A couple minutes later, it's less than $50 million, and you kind of had that feeling, especially with Helsley signing yesterday for about $14 million. You knew the AAV was maybe the same or maybe a little bit more. And again, 50. It looks like it's going to be about $15 million a year. There is some deferred money as well, but again, I think we all kind of lost our mind. Said, okay, this better not be the Diaz replacement. And obviously, there was an instant reaction. Oh my God, this is the Diaz replacement. And then Anthony DeComo and Andy Martino both saying, hey, the Mets are not out of Diaz. Passan said he could be the setup man. He's been willing to at least be the setup man, which is good. But again, it's a wait and see. Again, I do still have my, is David Stearns really about to spend multi-years at big AAV on 2 relievers? I still highly doubt it. But the fact that we've heard that they're still in on Diaz, and this is just to maybe pair with him, compared to just as of now replace him. Again, you have to believe that. It's just, for me, it's hard to see David Stearns, unless he is actually just getting away from his roots of paying top dollar for relief pitching and going to give out 2 multi-year and big 3-4 year deals with stupid money to a reliever. I just don't believe it, but they're still to be in the market. We'll see what happens with Diaz. So you can't fully lose your mind yet, because you have to wait and see. And we'll see if once that Diaz notification comes, then I think anyone can have a different reaction. But I'm going to hopefully, and be positive today, that I'm going to react to it as this is our new 8th inning guy, and Edwin Díaz is still a possibility to be in the 9th.
I mean, I think it's more of just establishing either insurance and also opening the possibility of bringing back Edwin Díaz. Now, obviously, Anthony DiComo, as you mentioned, said that the Mets are still interested in re-signing Edwin Díaz, even after agreeing to terms with Devin Williams. Per source, Williams is open to pitching in a setup role. And that was one thing that we did have concerns about regarding his market, and we knew that the Mets were going to be in that market, but we knew that from the GM meetings, there was reports that almost half the league was interested in Devin Williams in his free agency, whether he had a rough year or not. We'll get into that in a second. But however, when it comes to Edwin Díaz, obviously, we still want to bring him back, obviously shoring up the back end of the bullpen. That's, he's my favorite Met. He's been my favorite Met forever. I obviously want him back. With Devin Williams, right now, we're probably just going to look at it as, okay, this is the setup man, and we will see if they end up bringing back Edwin Díaz. If Edwin Díaz does not come back, then Devin Williams will likely be the closer for this team going into 2026. I don't think that the Mets are going to be in high pursuit of another reliever completely if Edwin Díaz ends up leaving. I think that they're probably going to try to build the depth, and we'll see what they end up doing, because I don't see the Mets just saying, well, okay, Edwin Díaz ends up going, we're just going to sign Robert Suarez and Pete Fairbanks and just go insane. I don't think that's going to end up happening. However, it's on paper, if you're sliding him into the 8th inning role, I think that it is a good signing. We've talked about it before. His best years was being a setup man to Josh Hader in Milwaukee. It has been. Those were his best years, his most efficient years, his most effective years. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. We will see if Edwin Díaz ends up coming back. I believe this is about to be a $15 million a year luxury tax hit, or however it is, because there is deferred payments. So we'll see how that all lines up. But this still does not put the Mets over the surcharge space. They're still about $30 million below it. This would likely put them above the $244 million, which is the CBT threshold. However, once you hit $20 million over that threshold, so $264, that's when you start getting taxed 12%, 65%. So again, we'll see how that does. We don't know how this contract will line up with the new CBA out next year. Who knows? We don't know if we have baseball in 2027. But looking down the road, the Mets did get insurance in case Edwin Díaz goes elsewhere. It's not the insurance that I would have preferred, but they end up bringing in Devin Williams, who we can see as an 8th inning guy, and he has closer experience if they do end up seeing Edwin Díaz go elsewhere. We saw a report from, not a report, actually. It was a prediction from Anthony DiComo saying that he believes that the Dodgers are the favorite to sign Edwin Díaz. He did say that. But we don't know. We don't know. And we talked about this before, even with Edwin Díaz. With them giving him a qualifying offer, we knew it was going to be either Mets or Dodgers. And we knew that even if there was a market for him, even the teams that we were even hearing attached to him, the Orioles just signed Ryan Helsley. So likely they're out of it. And then we also saw the Blue Jays, right? We saw the Blue Jays in on him as a team out there. Yeah. We saw the Blue Jays. They went after Dylan Cease. I don't know if that factors into it. It was a pretty hefty price that they paid for Dylan Cease, so I don't know if that's the direction that they are going in to go after Edwin Díaz. Again, I don't know if that affects anything because those are two different departments of a baseball team, but we'll see where they go here. I'm still hopeful that Diaz comes back, but I'm not going to make it a 100% guarantee. Rosie here saying, I don't buy that Stearns will sign Diaz and Williams. I think that they are considering it. I think that they are putting it into considerations, but no, I would not put it out here as a guarantee that they are going to sign both Williams and Diaz, which is kind of going to suck, but that's just how the ball is going to continue to roll. I mean, changes had to be made. So if this is a change that they make, I don't know. I wouldn't have, pivoted to Devin Williams before even Edwin Díaz is off the market. But I am currently hopeful that they retain Edwin Díaz. And that's what we are getting reports, that they're still going to try to retain Edwin Díaz. We don't know what they're going to be in overall aggressiveness. We don't know behind the closed doors. However, the Mets do add to their bullpen. On paper, it gets better. So it's a good move, but to be honest, just like the Simeon for Nimmo deal, we have to see what comes next to judge this deal completely. We said to avoid Devin Williams, but for different reasons, not anything to do with, his situation. But yes, as Edwin, it's the next in a series of culture-changing moves to come. Plenty more. And
I mean, you said, yeah. I mean, I guess
we'll see.
It's not jumping the market, obviously, because Helsley obviously was the first reliever that has had closer experience to get off the market. Now you see Devin Williams, and obviously we saw Rosenthal say Fairbanks' market was moving really quickly, and there was a couple teams down it. So again, maybe this is just the relievers starting to move, and like you were saying, like this should move the reliever market now. Two of the former closers with high leverage experience now off the board. Fairbanks, it looks to be potentially close as well. Then you got Suarez and Diaz, which are the two high actual closers from last year that are available. So now you're starting to see those markets move, which is good. We'll see what happens with that, mid to next tier class of relievers. We'll see guys like Tyler Rogers and like those kind of relievers. We'll see what happens with them. But the Brad Kellers and others. So at least again, this is always an offseason thing where the reliever market moves faster than everybody else because, again, you can sign these 1 or 2 year deals with 1-2 years with opt-outs, and they just move faster compared to your starting pitchers or position players. The bullpen guys always move fast. And, again, now you're starting to see these guys getting off the floor. Again, probably Fairbanks is next. And then, I think by the end of the winter meetings, I wouldn't be shocked if both Suarez and Diaz are off the board. And then after the winter meetings, we're just waiting for the bats. Because, I mean, maybe one bat signs at the winter meetings, but I'm thinking by the end of the winter meetings, most of the high leverage arms will know where they're playing by the end of the winter meetings.
Now, obviously, we know that Devin Williams, when he came over to the Yankees, he was traded from Milwaukee. He struggled a lot. He really did. And we know that from the beginning, from the gate, it was a rough go for him. And people were calling it a Diaz to the Mets, another version of that. He was able to regain his footing. Let's just say that towards the end of the year. He actually pitched fairly well in the postseason for them as well. Had 4 different appearances and was good in all of them. We know that, signature pitch from Diaz with his razor blade slider. Well, Devin Williams also has something as well called the airbender changeup, which I'm sure everybody has seen for many, many years, even though it was parked into the right field seats in Milwaukee by Pete Alonso 2 years ago. We do know that it is one of the most effective pitches in all of baseball. And obviously this year as well, still got a decent amount of swings and misses with it. We did see a decent amount of struggle from him to kind of strand base runners, and he really struggled a lot from the stretch. His control of the strike zone definitely went a little bit haywire. However, still got a decent amount of swings and misses, 99th percentile in whiff rate, 97th percentile in chase rate, obviously, which is pretty impressive when you're a 2-pitch guy, especially when you're talking about 2 pitches, a fastball, and a changeup. Now, Andrew, we've talked about this before, obviously, with 2-pitch guys. Diaz and Williams kind of both come from that same arm angle, and Diaz obviously more of the gyro cutter slider guy. Different shape of a fastball, obviously, from a different release point. But obviously, Devin Williams, his, fastball velocity is what, 95, maybe at tops, 95, 96. The changeup is obviously the main thing, like we saw both at 37% whiff rate. So again, two pitches that kind of hide behind each other, tunnel together. It's similar to what goes on with Edwin Díaz, but in kind of a different vertical way. Let's just say that. His changeup, still effective. Four seam, very effective. However, it seemed like a lot of balls were just being put in play a lot from him, and it just was not great. Still limited the home run ball fairly well. Strikeouts were still up-ish. So again, he had on paper not the best season. You can see obviously almost a 5 earned run average. However, some of the underlying numbers, 2.68 fielding independent pitching, whatever you want to say. He had the lowest left on base percentage. Like I said, stranding runners was not fantastic for him. Listen, I think this is fine. Again, if we're talking about the 8th inning role, I think that this would be a fine cushion for him. Like we said, the best parts of his career, even though he's had a great career overall, was when he was setting up Josh Hader. So, I mean, I think that the 8th inning sounds better when you're talking about Devin Williams after what we just saw in that topsy-turvy type of year that he just had in the Bronx. But if he ends up being the closer because Edwin Díaz does not come back, there's stuff to work with here. There is. It's not the end of the world. It's not something to get excited about because it's definitely a downgrade from Edwin Díaz. But there's at least, I don't know, there's at least like a bright light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, if Edwin Díaz doesn't come back. But it's a real small one because, again, the best from Devin Williams was from being a setup guy.
I mean, yes. I mean, and I think if in a perfect world, if we throw 2025 out and if let's say we were the Yankees last year, we're like, oh, we're getting Devin Williams and we're getting back-to-back years of a sub 1.5 ERA, and in 2023 gets 36 save. You're loving this. And again, maybe this is definitely what we've kind of been talking about in every show and stream that we've had, and seems like every move now. You're changing it up, and maybe if Diaz is going again, Diaz is going to get $20 million a year. We know this. Like, it's probably going to be 21, 22. You know, look at the Tanner Scott. He's going to top Tanner Scott contract. We'll see if he gets the 5th year or not. And you said, like, oh, they're not going to jump to Fairbanks and Suarez. Well, they've been interested in those guys too. So like they're even one they've talked and have interest in every option. So now if they have, obviously probably the number one option is they want to bring back Diaz. Let's say if Diaz falls, they can then pivot. And then again, if it's the Suarez Williams, I mean, again, it's not Edwin Díaz because again, you're going from the best to, top 10 guys. There is going to be a drop off. So again, this is the problem early in the offseason, content and moves, where it's like, yes, we can be like overreactionary right now. We need to see what's next, because especially with this one, if he's the setup man, and then a week from at the winter meeting they sign Diaz, we have a completely different reaction than right now. The pitcher is fine. Like we had him in the video, like you said, we had him because we didn't want him as the 9th inning. We don't want him as the 9th inning. But if you're telling me maybe then they add a couple extra lengths and maybe deepens the pen and takes $20 million from Diaz and you get one $10 million reliever and two $5 million relievers and get the depth approach, that could be better too. Again, it's all the kind of wait and see. I know I saw Ibby in the chat. He's always Mr. Patience, and I hate patience, but like I could wait a week of patience of a week because I always know what means next week. So we'll see what the reaction will be after that, the Passan or Salmon notification, because shout out to Will Salmon of breaking this before Passan did, of where Diaz signs, because again, we can react right now and say, hey, well, this is bad if he's the closer. If a week from now he's the setup man, we're all going to be happy, and this changes. So he's a fine pitcher. Again, like you said, the ERA is not good, and again, what's all these bad ERA guys getting all this money, old people jokes. He's a good pitcher. He has his flaws. He also has his strength. Like, I'm not going to lose. Again, I would love him in the 8th inning. If he ends up being the closer and they add a Fairbanks and Brad Keller to add as this 8-7-8 with Minter and Rayleigh, that's a good enough bullpen. Like, yes, you don't have Edwin Díaz now, but you have 5 relievers right there that you can get you big outs. So it's the depth approach compared to the quality approach. It just depends what you want to do. So again, I'm tired of, you want Yeldy screaming, oh, I want a reaction. Like, I'm no longer that. I'll wait a week because obviously we need to see where Diaz goes to fully, just like with Nemo and the Semien deal, what outfielder they replace him with. It's about patience, and I hate that word. I hate being wait. But again, with especially these 2 first moves, and especially it just being December 1st, we don't play baseball for 3 months. We're not strapping up playing tomorrow. So we'll wait and see what the next move is. And everyone complaining about, Stearns is sleepy. I haven't seen the Phillies make a move. I haven't seen the Dodgers make a move. The Yankees have made the moves. The Mets have already made 2. So they've been in front of the market. They've been proactive instead of being like everybody else and waiting for the market. They jumped the market and got a guy that they want. We'll see if it's the number 1 guy they want, but at least they jumped the market to get one of the guys that they wanted to put in their bullpen.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of doubt coming off from this season, and for good reason. I mean, it just did not go well. It went completely south. A lot of them, every single button that David Stearns pushed last year did not work at all. And to be honest, some people would say that it set off a few bombs, to be honest. And I'm not, listen, I have a little bit more of faith that he will make the right decisions. But again, people have every right to be a little peculiar in this sense of saying, oh, well, we're not going to get Diaz back because maybe they just see Devin Williams as this full-on replacement. I would not be shocked. I wouldn't, because we have seen a nature of David Stearns not willing to kind of shell out the extra year and kind of shell out, this extra, like he values these players at the right reason, for good reason, obviously, because he wants to build a filled roster. But there also has to be a thought of, if we are not keeping Edwin Díaz, you gotta fill the gaps in. You can't just say, well, we're pursuing this and this is it. Dylan Ross is our closer now. You can't do that. As much as I think Dylan Ross could probably be a productive reliever at the major league level, if you iron some stuff out, you can't just say, well, this is going to be our guy. It can't be. It just can't. We'll see. And with Edwin Díaz, obviously, adding him to the list while also talking about the rest of this pitching staff that needs to be retooled and needs to be completely, some of us would pretty much rip it up completely to the studs after what we just saw this season, but I don't think that they're going to completely blow it up, but they're going to make changes. Does that mean that if the Mets do get Edwin Díaz and they invest even more money into this bullpen, something we haven't seen with David Stearns before, does that mean that maybe they are more motivated to pursue a frontline starter on the trade market, in their arbitration salary, or in their cheaper salary, to kind of iron things out a little bit more and maybe consider, with Alonso or whatever? Maybe. I mean, I think that if they are pursuing Diaz and if they bring in Diaz, I think that the starting pitching move is probably going to come through a trade. I do think that there's a strong possibility that that does happen, especially after the deals that we are seeing that right now that are being floated around. The deal that Dylan Cease just got, I would never touch that with a 100-foot pole, let alone a 10-foot pole. That is insane. Insane. And Dylan Cease is talented. He is a talented pitcher, and I do think that he could be an ace if he puts it all together. But 7 years to Dylan Cease after what we have been seeing with him, that's a risk. Definitely a risk. But from the Blue Jays' perspective, obviously, you're one win away from winning the World Series. You go in like that, obviously. And you try to recreate what you were just, brought back into the World Series. Now, some people in the chat, Armand saying offer Diaz 4 years. $88 million. I mean, that's around the ballpark that I would go. I would even go $90 million. I mean, I go 4 years, $90 million. 4 years, $92 million. Like I go that extra million if he wants it, because obviously the Mets are probably going to have to deal out some more deferrals, even though I'm pretty sure he already has some deferred payments, Diaz, from his old contract. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think that even in any case, there's going to be deferred payments in Diaz if he ends up coming back. And, that's more of just insurance going forward. Because, he does have his family in mind with a lot of these decisions that he is making. So we'll see what happens. Avokes, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but he says, no way that the Dodgers signed Diaz. I think it's possible. I do. With him having the qualifying offer attached to him, I feel like the Dodgers are the only teams that would be willing to exceed those limits. But I do think the Mets have an upper hand in this situation, and we'll see how it works out, how it irons out. And I think the winter meetings is probably when we will sit here and time will tell. Ray saying, I believe this is a Yankee fan, because he said, just get ready for some anxiety. I'm not going to miss him as a Yankee. Listen, we've had plenty of anxiety from Edwin Díaz, who is the guy that we are 100% pursuing. We have had a roller coaster of a tenure for Edwin Díaz. So there's nothing that we can't withstand. Let's just say that. But yes, I think we all know about the shakiness of Devin Williams, because it was put on blast with him being a Yankee last year. His stats as a setup man are great. Yep. Vanilla is saying, could the strategy be to spend on the pen and trade for a controllable starting pitcher? Wouldn't be more of Stearns' MO? I think it would be, like I just said. I think it's possible because obviously the Mets have more room to maneuver, and I do think that there's going to be other players on this team that are going to be traded. But when it comes to moving around money, constructing this team, I do think that they're going to try and go a cheap route in some way. Let's just hope that they don't, because again, the only way, to be honest, for this team to make sense, especially with the depth chart of their starting pitching and the guys who are out of options, who maybe won't be in the opening day rotation no matter what, it only makes sense for them to make a trade. It only makes sense for them to be lined up to make a trade. Rosie saying, Carson put his finger on the issue. There's no trust with David Stearns after last year. Exactly. I mean, I think it's all warranted. I mean, it was a bad year. It was a really bad year. I trust that he's learned from some things that have happened. Obviously, I think he's going to be more aggressive compared to last year, and I think it's pretty much shown already before the winter meetings even start. I mean, he's already made a trade for a second baseman, traded a longtime Met, a homegrown player, knows that there needs to be changes, and then he just brought in a really good bullpen arm as well. So we'll see. We will see. Stearns found the money for Williams between his car seats this morning. Probably. Paul Revere saying Diaz will be a Met. So, I mean, he's confident in that too. Elvin saying good signing, interesting chess move by Stearns. I mean, maybe this is also, I don't know if you think about this, but I mean, maybe this is to add to the selling point too for Diaz as well. I mean, say, hey, we got a setup man for you. Even though AJ Minter was supposed to be that last year.
So again, let's see. Look again. We make the joke like right now, and we're going to play. Obviously, AJ Minter is recovering, but right now the Mets have 3 high leverage arms in that bullpen with Minter, Williams, Rayleigh. So you have 3. You obviously love to bring it back Edwin Díaz, but we'll see. Again, you have a couple of lottery ticket guys who are like a potential Ryan Lambert, but Dylan Ross. So you have those could be lottery tickets down the line. The Giants are making this a game? Question mark besides the point. Maybe it's a selling point where it's like, okay, you were trying to compete, and again, we've seen that Cohen has. Remember when Diaz and keep this in mind. Diaz has been pro, and you brought up the family thing. Cohen was very supportive and helping when he obviously blows out his knee in the WBC and helped with top flight recovery and doing that. So again, and you said the family is going to be a big part of this. So maybe again, if, let's say, again, we saw what happened with, again, him not pitching because, again, you couldn't hold a lead between, Helsley and Tyler Rogers not being a good reliever. Again, ERA, he's good ERA, but then if you actually watch, he's not that good. So to rebuilding the bridge, it could be a selling point to have you and Williams be maybe one of the best back end of the bullpens in the game. Like, that could be something. But I guess I wanted to talk to the point about you said about the trade things. The Mets, like, obviously we've seen the Senga rumors and like they need to trade a starter just to add a starter. But especially with the pricing of, pitching and what, again, the video I wanted to make, especially if David Stearns wanted to, he could do what AJ Preller did 4 years ago. He could trade for 3 top-end starters because he has the farm system to do it. If he wanted tomorrow, he has the ability, if he wanted Joe Ryan and Freddie Peralta, to do it. He has the capital. Depending on what, publication you see, they have a top 5 farm system in baseball. They have some of the guys who with the highest, raised guys like AJ Ewing and Jacob Reimer, who like these major prospect elevations in publications and teams are viewing that. And you can do that without trading, the club of chaos, we call it, the Acuñas and the Beattys and that. Like, if you wanted to, you can combine them both and, let's say, make a trade for Freddie Peralta and make a trade for Joe Ryan, because both those guys are going to make less than $10 million this year. Gives you that ability to go nuts in the bullpen or go nuts in the lineup if you wanted to, especially if you're trading a Kodai Senga to clear up his money. You get rid of Jeff McNeil. You can do that. Like, and it's not insane. Again, there's a way. Well, again, we'll see what David says. And maybe that is the plan. If he's going to trade for a couple of reliever starters once they trade Senga to get out his money, and maybe, again, it won't even be getting out of his money because, again, we're seeing the price of pitching. Someone will give you a decent piece for Senga, and then boom, now you have an open spot. Okay, you want to go get Freddie Peralta. You want to go get Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez.
Yeah.
The Marlins guys aren't really going to be option. Obviously, if Detroit wants to move Skubal, you have that ability. It's just, I like that, again, he's being proactive, and he has the ability, if he wants, to go any which way. He can go the high leverage. He can go pay for the big closer in Diaz. He can go pay for a starter. He can go trade for the starter. And, again, still has some financial pieces he can move to shed payroll to add more down the line. So, again, he has a ton of avenues to take over.
Obviously, I mean, we know that there is at least a lineup for one trade to happen once again for them either to offload something or acquire something. It's more of just the fact that we usually don't see in an offseason that that a team makes as many trades as we have seen possibly that could be lined up. We know that there is a possibility that the Mets trade for a frontline starter. But there's also a possibility that they also trade Kodai Senga, possibly Jeff McNeil. Like, there is a strong possibility that they make, 5 trades this offseason, which you usually don't see. But when you're in a predicament that you usually don't see, when you're in a predicament that you usually don't see, where a team has had a top 1% payroll for 5 straight years, has won nothing, we're seeing something like we haven't seen before. And we've also have seen the Mets dip into historic waters before, when they sold off at the deadline and they retained all of this salary because they can with the wallet of Steve Cohen. And it obviously branched off into the next year, into 2024, that kind of impacted their offseason as well, of kind of adding these little pieces and some of these projects that ended up doing well. I think that there is lessons that are being learned. I think that there is conversations that we knew that needed to be had. One that we know is going to be popping up, Bruce saying it in the chat, about Pete Alonso. What happens with Pete Alonso? We have absolutely no idea. It seems like his market is pretty quiet. I don't know what to tell you. We've gone over it plenty of times before. I do think that Alonso will sign at the winter meetings. I don't think it's going to drag out, but we'll see. I think Schwarber's got to go first. Though.
No, Schwarber will go first, and Schwarber actually has a market. Pete has no market. Like, there have been multiple teams we've seen on Schwarber. We've seen 2 teams in on Alonso. Schwarber will go at the winter meeting. Alonso's not signing to February. Like, unless, as that little Passan tweet came out today,
I think he signs it.
Not a chance. Not a chance. This is going to be same as last year. Unless Boston whips out a 4-year deal, he ain't signing until February. Like, unless Boston
I think he signs. I think he signs at the winter.
What market? There's no market. He's literally putting out a hit piece. Someone love me because nobody wants me. He's not signing he's going to be just like last year. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like a week till spring training and he's still unsigned.
Okay, first of all, you don't have to be so mean. Yeah. You don't have to be so mean.
Well, you're dumb. You
don't have to be mean to him. Don't have to be mean to Pete. No. Okay? We're not mean to Pete on here.
Never.
Washington is a sleeper for Pete. Again, like there's some of these teams that I don't see them shelling out the money that he's asking for. There's gonna be I think that there's gonna be conversation with obviously the Boris clients, because there's a lot of Boris clients that are obviously put in center stage, including as well Tariq Skubal. Like, we'll see what happens with him. I still don't think he's going to end up getting traded, but there's going to be a lot of talk around it. Could there be a push for it? I don't know, but we'll see. And we will, again, we'll see what they do with a signing like this in Devin Williams regarding Edwin Díaz. We will see how they address the outfield with Brandon Nimmo gone. We will see where Jeff McNeil ends up after the article that we just saw come out like 48 hours ago, which we were going to get into on Thursday, more specifically when we have our live show, our podcast specifically. But again, I think there is more of a panic right now that's oversetting to a lot of Mets fans regarding Pete Alonso, only just because of, the changes that are being made. There was some thought about, with Brandon Nimmo getting traded, that maybe they were done with Pete Alonso as well. I mean, here's the thing. I think that mathematically it puts Pete Alonso in as a more of a stronger possibility to come back with a guy like Brandon Nimmo, whose contract for 5 years just came off of the books. It all really just becomes, a waiting game as to how the roster gets pieced together. Not really the money, but more of just the roster in general, because again, we still have like 9 infielders right now. We have so many infielders. Pete's another one. And obviously he's not in the equation of Beatty, Mauricio, Vientos, Acuna. He's not in that because he's not going to be in the middle infield. He's a first baseman DH. Barely a first baseman at this current moment because some of the first base he has played has been horrendous. But it comes to a point where I think there is something that goes to it where Pete Alonso's market, whether it is slim or not, no matter what, with no qualifying offer attached to him, he's kind of handcuffed to the Mets. I mean, he kind of is when you think about it.
And the new the teams that could have been added, Seattle chose Naylor. Like, again, somebody brought up the Nationals. Yeah, the Nationals could make sense, but they're just changed ownership. They're probably not ready to spend because they changed ownership. It's Boston and New York. It's the same. They had 2 teams, unless we get like a Giants, but they have Devers plus Bryce Eldridge. You have the Dodgers. No, San Diego would make sense, but they're trying to be sold and they have a ton of long-term money. So take San Diego out. The Yankees are kind of one, like, they make sense, but they have Ben Rice, and they want to use him in first base. So, again, every one of these teams that you want to say, oh, Pete's in the market for, they're not really in the market for him. So we continue to go back to Boston and the Mets. And Boston probably wants Schwarber more, so if they shine Schwarber, they'll probably pivot to their guy in Bregman. And if you sign Schwarber, you don't really you can still sign Alonso, but why not you just re-sign Bregman that fit well for you? So that's my whole point is this, like, and now another year older hitting the free agent market. Yes, coming off a better year than last year, but another year older for a team that's not wanting to pay first basemen who are unathletic. So, like, it's, again, I'm tired of talking about him, and again, we'll wait and see. We're going to continue to talk about it until this tubby ice cream scooper decides to go wherever he's going to go, and I'm just tired of talking about him. And if he's here, cool. If he's playing in Boston, cool. I'm just tired of talking about this guy.
You don't get sentimental in any way?
Year.
You don't get like a fluttering sensation in your heart that he might end up elsewhere? I mean, Boston is obviously one thing to go to be a possibility, but wouldn't they also be more motivated to keep Bregman? But they want, again, if they're, what Passan said, they'll get 2 out of the 3. So pick your power bat. If they sign Schwarber, then that takes them out of then they'll probably pivot to Bregman. But if they don't sign Schwarber, if he goes back to Philly or comes here or goes anywhere else, then I think that makes Boston a little more hot and heavy for Alonso. That's, again, it's just this constant thing of you're not getting 6 years, Pete. Just get to 4 or 3. You want to get a contract done? Get down to 3 or 4. And then teams will actually. You know what that sounds like? And then obviously this is more about Devin Williams. But you know what this sounds like? It sounds like Pete should have taken 7 years, $158 million 2 years ago. You know what that really. But again, Mets fans are in his corner 24/7 say, oh, well, he was too good for that.
Not like, Matt Olson signed that same type of contract. Freddie signed
the same. It was more than Matt Olson.
Exactly. I said similar, like type of contract. I didn't say exactly like. Oh, it's almost like there's a thing. It just keeps going back.
It just keeps falling back to that one contract that he denied. The one contract that Epler couldn't complete. That one. Meanwhile, eight guaranteed years to Brandon Nimmo and buying out arbitration years for Jeff McNeil. That could get done. What if Stearns goes for O'Hearn at first, Schwarber DH route?
Hey.
I mean, could happen.
I don't know. That sounded like a pretty good idea. It's a good idea. Versatile defender, good defender at first base, could play left in the corners, but you don't really want to put him out there.
But he's not our guy.
He's not our guy.
The only thing is that I don't know if they want to keep loading the left-handed side of the plate. A guy like Ryan O'Hearn. Yeah. That's the only thing.
That would be the other thing, but
that would be
I'm tired.
Thing.
Like, maybe it's Johnny Diaz, maybe it's Wilson Contreras. Like, there are options out there to play first base. Like this again. I said that this fake news of it's Pete Alonso or nothing.
You don't want to keep your guy though. Your guy.
No. Don't care. I wanted him gone 5 years ago. Fake nice guy. Get him out of here. Let me boo him. Whoops, sorry. Oh, wait, that slipped. Sorry. Oh, that one slipped.
All right. Listen, if this is the setup, I'm
tired.
I think there is concern in regards to this signing. Going back to Devin Williams, obviously. We know that if he ever faces Pete Alonso, we're scared. Because of that one moment.
Well, again, one moment, one chance, one opportunity.
One thing I will say here, okay? As John Morosi, the very reliable John Morosi says that
the yapper
and Tucker are not signing this week.
Oh. He said that, yeah.
And we are being told by multiple people that the winter meetings is going to be a signing extravaganza. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we will be going live a lot during that time. We'll see. However, when it comes to Devin Williams, there's plenty of factors that I think have some. There is obviously some concern with this. Obviously, we don't know what the deal is with Edwin Díaz, like we said, but we also did talk about it a little bit in the video, too. He's had some history of, having some, meltdowns as well. He missed a decent amount of the 2024 season. What did he do? He punched
the wall or something. Yeah, he broke his hand.
Punched a wall or something. So that's not going to go over well. Maybe he learned his lesson from that, because maybe it hurt like hell. If you punch a wall, it may hurt your fist. I don't know.
Maybe.
But there is a history there. So, interesting choice to see him, choose the Mets on December 1st, especially after a year in New York. But it seems like he was able to settle down towards the end of that year. And also, it seems like he was willing to stay in New York after a rough year in the Bronx.
Yeah, supposedly Brian, the Yankee guy, Brian Hoach or whatever the hell whatever the hell his name is, he tweeted out after the signing of Devin Williams that he loved being in New York, and after the tribulation of the early season, grew to love New York, and now he's part of the 7 train. So again, he liked being in New York.
Yeah, okay.
And that was Brian Hoach, whoever the Yankee guy. I don't know how to Hoach, whatever the hell you say his name. He tweeted that right after the Diaz signing, the Williams signing. So again, he likes being in New York. So he likes good food. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe he likes David Stearns because they're friends.
They are frenemies. Yeah. Well, remember, this is the one he didn't trade. Matt Arnold.
This is the one he didn't trade. Yeah, this was the one that the next GM traded.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, there's connection here. There's uplifting. Listen, there's uplifting possibilities, but I think we all will sleep better at night if Edwin Díaz is along with this ride. And I do think that this is a good avenue of hope for the Mets in this offseason, like we said, on the pitching market as well. After what we are seeing, how this market was just set with Dylan Cease, who we know is good, can give you 200 innings, can strike out a bunch of batters, but he has not been full-on ace material. After what he just got, I think that this is going to motivate the Mets to go to the trade market for starting pitching. And for good reason. I feel like it all really winds up the best because the Mets do have a surplus of either infielders. They also have a surplus of a lot of good prospects, top 5 farm ranked by any outlet that you want to talk about. But we'll see. But I do think that it's more likely that the Mets go to the trade market for starting pitching now. And it all really just has to be connected to Edwin Díaz, whether he comes back or not. Does this trade increase or decrease? I think he's saying, he said signing. Does this signing increase or decrease their chances of signing Diaz? I'd still say it's 50-50. I still would say 50-50, only because, not because I'm like, oh, well, I still have confidence and I want Edwin Díaz back. It's more of the fact it's like we knew that Mets and Dodgers, it was going to be the 50-50 with that, especially with the qualifying offer attached to him. So those certain details show that I think it's still possible, but I'm not going to put it here as a 100% guarantee. I think that if you asked me maybe like a week ago or a few days ago, what is more possible, Devin Williams or Edwin Díaz, I probably would just say Devin Williams because we know that the connection's been there. Obviously, we know that those names have been attached. And obviously, this is a 3-year deal. They gave Clay Holmes a 3-year deal. Devin Williams will not be starting for us. Okay, just everybody don't panic. He will be in the bullpen. Okay, he's not going to be starting for us. So I guess that's something. What are you smiling about?
No, I'm just having a little fun. Just having a little fun with talk about Devin Williams. So, but yeah, again, I think, like you said, if you would have said a week ago, who's more likely, Devin Williams would have been the guy. And again, you hope that this isn't using his past relationship, being like, okay, I'm gonna let Diaz walk because I trust, and I've seen, and it's true, he's seen Devin Williams be a good closer / high leverage reliever. again, you're a big market, Dave. You can use it, cool. But, Steve Cohen has got $1 bajillion for a new casino. Time to use that money and just spend it on, keep those homegrown guys and keep the guys that have become, Mets to the fan base.
We still have not gotten an update as to what the tax hit is with this, because obviously there's deferrals and everything. Devin Williams is there hasn't been an update yet, so Spotrac does not have it yet, and it doesn't even look like he's on their payroll at this current moment. But it does say that he did sign a contract with the Mets. It's just not fully official. So we'll see what happens there. But again, I don't know. It's all really just speculation as to what's going to happen. We're going to stay on here for about 10 more minutes. We're going to send it to an hour, and then we're going to hop off, guys. Devin Williams, 3 years, $45 million deal, $5 million a year that is deferred, plus a $6 million bonus that is prorated over 3 years. And hopefully this means that he is our 8th inning guy. We hope. We're not guaranteeing it, but we hope. We hope so. Because Edwin Díaz is pretty good. Would be awesome. Would be sick.
And there's nothing else really has come out after the fact besides the Tacomo and Martino tweet. Nothing really. Again, we'll start seeing some more movement, but it's a wait and see, and the patience is everybody's favorite word, as the David Stearns revenge tour has continued.
The Mets have made more transactions than any team so far. If you're talking about a November offseason recap. So I don't want to hear no sleepy Stearns right now, because he ain't sleepy. He making moves. Nobody else is. The Mariners made a move, right? They retained a guy. And then the Blue Jays made a move. The Mets have made 2 moves. So get on our level. All right?
I mean, it is kind of funny that the Yankees got rid of their beard policy for a guy that only stayed with them for 1 year. It's kind of crazy.
Well, that is crazy. You know what also is crazy? The Giants couldn't win tonight. What a bunch of losers.
Well, I mean, they were trying to make a comeback, but, they're down by 2.2 score games.
And you still failed. You still failed.
Dude, how about you actually win some games?
No. That's not what we're trying to do here. That's not the goal. You're supposed to win games, not me.
I'm trying to get my GM fired, bro. I don't give a shit about the draft. I'm trying to get my GM fired. I can give a shit about the draft.
Yeah, I think 3 wins will be good. Get 3 wins. Get it. It's right there for you.
Nah, we're good. Regazzo,
even though I think you play my team, so you'll get that 3rd win. Don't worry.
Nah. What the? Okay, yeah. I need to get off Twitter. I googled the Mets on Twitter, and there's just too many stupid people. I gotta get off there. Still some stupid 5-team trade. Yep. That's, ladies and gentlemen, when you turn off the internet and you go, I got to go to work tomorrow. And I'm sheepy. But, yeah, again, it's a wait-and-see process. The Dumpster Dave revenge tour has been continued to begin. Trades Brandon Nimmo. Nice guy, got him up out of here. Brings back his buddy from Milwaukee, the man from Milwaukee. We'll see what's next. Pete Alonso going to Boston. It's going to be crazy.
All right. One last thing.
Oh, boy.
One last thing, okay?
This is going to be so stupid, isn't it?
No. What do you think the next move is? What will exactly the next move? We're going to place bets right here. What the hell just happened?
Bet.
Okay.
We're going to put bets down what the next move for the New York Mets is is the Kodai Senga trade to an American League team.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And we'll actually get into Kodai Senga on the podcast. Obviously, there's some updates regarding his status and everything. And I'm sure Andrew will have some really good reaction to that. But again,
wait, you didn't see the group chat? I was very. That's great news.
Yeah, no, I saw it, but it's got to go public. It's obviously got to go public. All right, so
I totally don't have
last 5 minutes here, guys. We'll let you get your questions in. Any more comments? But one more time, Devin Williams to the Mets. Something that we expected to happen. 3 years, $45 million to be a part of the Mets bullpen. We don't know what role he's going to have yet. Fingers crossed, it's a role that he's not in right now.
He's a high leverage reliever.
Official yet, so we don't know what the full numbers are, but I will be sure to post on Twitter. For those of you watching on Twitter, I'll be sure to post the full, the full payroll numbers when those numbers come out for the luxury tax hit that Devin Williams will have on the Mets payroll.
Spot track still doesn't have it up?
No, doesn't look like it does. I checked it like 3 mementos ago.
3 mementos ago.
Because there's deferred payments, so it's probably going to be. There's probably going to be a.
Hey, what do you mean? Hey, the Giants are only down 3 scores with 2 minutes left, and they got the ball. What do you mean they can't come back with this game?
Yes, I know they can't come back from this game.
They're going to still win. They get 3 quick touchdowns, 3 onside kicks, you win. Boom, game over. Giants win.
Yeah, maybe in Madden.
Well, Madden's better in real life football. So, all right, I think we've hit it. Devin Williams, just please don't be our closer. David Stearns, keep spending. Go full Preller. Make an off season worth talking about. Go let that Preller voice in your head take over. Make 57 trades. Sign $1 billion worth of contracts again. Just keep going. You don't got baseball next year, so if you're going to do it, you might as well do it the year before baseball. We don't play baseball for 2 years.
Balls to the wall.
Just trade for every star rental available. Literally build the greatest rental team.
You think that the Senga move is going to be the next move?
Yes, I will say Kodai Senga is the next move. Just a random. Today's Monday. I'm gonna say Saturday evening. The Kodai Senga drop right before the winter meeting, right before they get on the plane for the winter meetings is when Senga gets moved.
Okay, I think the next move is going to be bringing back Joey Wendell on a 1-year league min deal. I think that's going to be the next one. Senga's going to... Okay, I think the next move, and who knows when it'll be, obviously winter meetings, but I think the first move is going to be the Mets retaining Edwin Díaz. I think that's what I'm going to go with. And I hope that I'm right. And if I'm not right, then I'm still going to be right.
That's what I'm going to go with. Right. Get rid of that flimsy bastard off my team. I need it. Get him out of here.
All right. Well, okay. Anyways, we're going to end it off here. One more time, the Mets have signed Devin Williams to a 3-year, $45 million deal, adding to the Mets bullpen. We will be live for any other moves that possibly happen, and we will have some winter meetings coverage as we get closer and closer. I believe it's in, what is it? Where is it in this year?
Next Monday. Oh, Orlando. It's in Orlando.
Orlando. Okay, so the winter meetings in Orlando next Monday. 4 straight days of baseball news, hopefully. We'll see how hot the stove ends up being. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel. Turn on those post notifications to know when we go live regularly on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time for our podcast. We'll also be live for breaking news, like I said. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. Follow all of us individually. The links are in the description. Finally, let's go Mets, and we will see you guys next time.